There's still a preconceived notion that men are better in technology, or they're just better in business overall, whether it's an unconscious bias or if it is conscious. Influencing would be probably the best skill, because that's a lot of what you end up doing as a leader. You have to love what you do. Like, you have to understand why you're getting out of bed in the morning, and if you can answer that question, you can always come back to why you're doing something, and then you can become resilient.
As a woman in leadership role, what obstacles did you encounter and how did you navigate them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say that there aren't any obstacles or challenges, but that still today is not true. And I think I still even see it that, in sometimes the way that, I'm dealt with is, there's still a preconceived notion that men are better in technology, or they're just better in business overall, whether it's an unconscious bias or if it is conscious, it still is out there. I mean, I was just in a meeting last week and with a potential supplier, and it was a technical supplier, and I was asking questions, and the man actually said to me, "Wow, you sound like you really know what you're talking about." And it was like, well, I should. I mean, this is my job. So how you get over it, I think, is, you have to have allies. I mean, we speak a lot about this at Farfetch, and allyship can come in many different forms. It can come from women, it can come from men, it can come from superior, it can come from, you just have to have sort of those allies to help you, and also to, I wouldn't say don't be emotional about it, because it still stings, it absolutely stings, but it's about understanding the other person's sort of, I guess, ignorance in it, and not actually fighting, but more educating. But yeah, it's still there today, and I've got a brilliant network of people at Farfetch, and outside of Farfetch as well. But also what I try and do is then make sure that people do have the support as well. So I lead our Women in Business people community, and it's anybody who wants to join. So we have men, women, non-binary, like we have everyone who wants to actually be part of those conversations. And it is just keeping the conversation alive, and making sure that we support each other.
Do you have any specific advice for women who are wanting to be female leaders in the industry? Any specific skills?
I think influencing is a massive skill, because also it's influencing, it is about storytelling, it is about getting people like on side, and the way you can communicate and articulate is going to be really, really helpful. I would also say networks, getting your networks are super, super important. It's having that support. So yeah, I would say influencing would be probably the best skill, because that's a lot of what you end up doing as a leader.
And how do you see this landscape changing for women in the leadership roles within the luxury fashion and e-commerce platforms?
On a positive, I'm seeing lots of change, and I'm seeing lots of women have very prominent technology or senior business roles. And I even look at my senior leadership team, and it's probably 75% women, in some very technical roles, or heading up product, or heading up user research, or heading up implementation and delivery, which is typically a very male-dominated industry. So, it's fantastic to see. And even in the 13 years I've been there, I'm now seeing a much bigger shift. I think for me, where it really starts is getting people interested in those type of roles as well at an early age. It was something that we were just talking about, where I think when people think technology, a lot of times we still think engineering, but actually there's a whole host of different roles that come within the technology space. So whether that is product or product marketing or user research or user experience or UX, whatever it is, there's lots of different types of roles. So some of the roles in technology are unbelievably creative as well. And I think people don't necessarily think it's very analytical. Can be, but it can also be super creative. So I think it's about sort of exploring and understanding what we actually mean by technology. And I think even now what I'm super excited about is some of like the new technologies that are coming in terms of like product photography and digital assets, and that in itself will be a really big industry.
Yeah, I think tech and the creative sectors really come together, and it's definitely exciting and very innovative for sure. You were talking about how you now lead the Farfetch Platform Solutions. Can you elaborate on the company's white label enterprise offering and just what that impact is on the luxury industry?
Yes. I promise I won't get too technical here. My colleagues are always like, bring it up. But so we basically, when we were doing the international expansion, we re-architected our website so that it was no longer like a monolithic. Instead, it was multi-tenanted. And what that meant then is that we could actually help brands and retailers run their e-commerce by using our technology. And so we opted to create Farfetch Platform Solutions to actually, one, commercialize all of the work that we did for ourselves and make some of that money back, but two, properly help brands and retailers run e-commerce. So going back to the mission and vision of Farfetch was, helping the boutiques be able to sell their supply online. Now the mission and vision is similarly, it's kind of the same, but it's evolved where we want to not just have them be able to sell on our marketplace, but how do we actually help them sell on their own digital properties and using not just our technology, but our strategic know-how as well. So the way we set up Farfetch Platform Solutions, I set it up in a way where I thought, okay, I used to be in these people's positions. What do I want from a supplier? I want someone to not just come in and sell me technology and leave. I want someone to actually help me think about the future, help me think about my strategy. And so a big part of what we do is, yes, we offer all the technology. And so when you shop on, Harrods, it's actually my team and our platform powering the entire Harrods website. But it's also the strategic value that we can bring, and we can talk about insights and customer trends and, should you localize in China or South Korea? And it's about bringing that knowledge. And I get really excited about it because I genuinely believe in just creating wonderful customer experiences. And so for me to be able to do that and help retailers and brands, navigate, what can be a tricky landscape is super exciting and super rewarding.
Very rewarding. You touched on this a bit earlier, but how do you see the intersection of fashion and tech evolving in the coming years? And what trends are you most excited about?
I mean, I think they are massively intersecting, and they are almost not even intersecting, they're almost like hand in hand. And for me, the trends that I'm really excited about, I think there's probably three. And one isn't necessarily a new trend, but it's about the customer centricity. And what I mean by that is what we're trying to sort of crack is the fact that customers shop in many different places, many different ways. It is online, it is offline, it is in the metaverse. How do you bring those experiences together at a brand level so that effectively you as a customer aren't fragmented and treated very differently, whether you're in store or online? So a lot of the technology that we're creating is to help have that seamless customer journey. So if you walk into a store, the customer advisor can actually know who you are, know your likes, know your preferences without ever having met you before, because that gives you a really good customer experience. But equally, if you don't want to talk to the customer advisor, you don't have to. So it's about actually, I think, empowerment to give a really good customer experience. And the probably two trends behind that, one is the use of data, which is we always talk about it in the industry, and it's always a hot topic. But I do believe that it is so powerful because it can unlock a lot of these wonderful experiences that we're trying to do. And then part of the data piece is AI. I mean, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg of what it can do, especially in luxury fashion. Like, whether that is, the way that people source, the way that people design, the way that people create, all the way down from like production, and then like how do you become more efficient? There are just so many different use cases we haven't even explored yet. So I'm excited to see, what these large scale data models can actually do and how they can help with personalization as well.
For sure. I think personally I'm excited because I saw that there's a new AI function within Adobe CC. So just for photoshopping all these companies' campaigns, like it's just so much easier, and exactly. It's syncing for sure, synchronicity.
It is. And I think it's brilliant because it's like the efficiencies, and we always say it's not there to replace, it's there to augment. And for us, it is about even like what it does for digital assets and things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And in your opinion, what are the key factors that will shape the future of luxury e-commerce?
I think customer centricity, that's definitely not going to go away. And if anything, it is becoming more prevalent. We always say the way that we innovate is through watching what our customers want and do. So the customer's always ahead of what we can do. So we always have to see what they want or expect from us. I think also not enough brands are talking about this, but sustainability. I mean, it has to be on people's radar. It has to be on people's agendas. And I think, the luxury space has got to get a handle on this because it is unbelievably important. And then I would say personalization as well through AI and through these, like unlocking these data models. I think in the industry, we talk about it all the time as the one-to-one personalization, but we've never been able to do it. And I've never seen really any brand do it in a way that you're like, wow, that feels really tailored to me. But I think we now have the tools and the resources through AI to really change the landscape of what that looks like.
For sure. I think it's incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
On a more personal note, how do you maintain your resilience and motivate in such a dynamic and challenging industry?
That is a good question. One, I think you have to love what you do. Like, you have to understand why you're getting out of bed in the morning. And if you can answer that question, then you can always come back to why you're doing something, and then you can become resilient. Just like me being an engineer, where I was like, gosh, this is not for me. I don't think I would be able to be resilient in that position because I didn't love what I was doing. I also think it's really about the team. So the team and the company that you work with and you work for me, my team keeps me sane, and they actually, like, I don't have enough good things to say about them. They are all very, very brilliant, hardworking. So I guess like surrounding yourself by very passionate people as well massively helps. And so, I think we struggled when we basically were, during the pandemic, not being able to have that sort of like that personal contact. Yes, we're on Zoom and that's fine, but actually being back in the office, like, it really has made a huge, huge difference for resilience, because when you're having a bad day and you've got someone next to you that you can actually talk to, it really helps. And then it sparks creativity as well. So then you start to talk about what are the changes, what should we be thinking about, what are the consumers doing now? And it's not, it's more sort of natural and flowing. So I think, the two things is love what you do and make sure that you're surrounded by really great, passionate people.